You've seen the title? Let's get straight into it. So if someone is looking to improve the width of your back, that's going to come mostly from your latissimus dorsi muscles, which you probably know better as lats. You may be able to feel them on the sides of your mid to lower back, and they attach into your upper arm bone. And their main job is to move your upper arm towards the torso. So that can be from the front, and that can also be from the side as well. For example, if you're swimming freestyle, that action of bringing your arm back is going to heavily involve your lats. If you're taking an item off a shelf, that's going to heavily involve your lats as well. So if you are looking to train your lats, any sort of pulling movement is going to be your staple. So that can be vertical and horizontal pulls as well. Let's talk about vertical pulls first, starting with my favorite movement, the pull-up. Now, if you want to be as specific for growing the lats as possible, you want to adopt a shoulder width grip with your palms facing each other. So neutral grip pull-up. And what this does, it allows you to get a deep stretch at the bottom. Remember, lats love length. So you want to start at the bottom of the rep with a dead hang position. You want to think about pulling with your elbows until at least your chin is over the bar. Your hands are merely hooks. And when you come back down, you want to control yourself and you want to start again from a dead hang position and repeat for the desired number of reps. Half reps do not count since you're not getting the full benefit of the exercise. You may hear the advice that a wide grip pull-up emphasizes back width. And whilst you can get a wide back by doing this, it's not going to be the most optimal for lat development or width development, because as you can see, the range of motion for the lats is reduced, and this starts to emphasize more traps, teres major and rhomboids, making this more of a thickness biased exercise. If your bar doesn't have a neutral grip available, you could always adopt an underhand position instead. However, not everybody finds an underhand pull-up comfortable, and if you are able to adopt a neutral grip on your pull-up, I highly recommend doing that if you want to focus on width. A good middle ground variation for thickness and width would be the standard overhand pull-up, where your arms are just outside shoulder width. So when it comes to programming, a good rep range for pull-ups would be in around that 6 to 12 rep range, and you can use a standard double progression model where you're aiming to progress in reps and then in weight. And you can check my video on simple methods of building muscle. I go into that in more detail. If you are able to do multiple sets of 12 pull-ups with your body weight, I'd recommend adding some sort of weight. So you can use a weight belt and add plates to that, or you can grab a dumbbell and hold it in between your legs. If you're not able to do pull-ups, bear with me, got something for you as well. You can do a lat pull down, so you're still training a very similar movement pattern. And to mimic a neutral grip pull-up, what you can do is grab a V-bar that'll get you in the right position and pull it down till around chest height. You can also use D handles, which will allow you to work one lat at a time. And of course, you can use a standard straight bar with your hands just slightly outside of shoulder width to mimic that standard overhand pull-up. Again, just making sure you're pulling it down to around chest height, keeping a good upright position so that you can get a deep stretch at the top. I'd recommend training lat pull downs in the 8 to 12 or 12 to 15 rep range using a standard double progression model. You can also use an assisted pull-up machine. I know not every gym has this, but if it does have it, I'd highly recommend giving this a try. You can use whichever group you prefer. And again, you can use a standard double progression model where if you hit 3 sets of the upper end of the rep range, you can decrease the amount of assistance that you have. A key thing to note with this is that when you decrease the weight, it actually decreases the assistance that you have as well. So it will make the exercise more difficult. You can use a standard double progression model in that 8 to 12 rep range or 12 to 15 rep range and gradually decrease the amount of assistance you have over time. Before we move on, just the last thing on vertical pulls. You may notice for a lot of my movements, I have my thumb over the bar. I'd actually recommend this because it actually allows you to get a better mental connection with your back. A lot of people have a hard time engaging and feeling their lats, and this is a bit bro sciencey, but putting your thumb over the bar really helps with that mind-muscle connection with the lats. Alright, so next up, let's talk about horizontal pulls. Basically, all kinds of rows. Now I'm going to be talking mainly about dumbbell rows. However, a lot of the form cues from here, you can apply them to other exercises such as machine rows or even barbell rows in some cases. We already know that if we want to bias the lats, you want to keep your upper arm closer to your side. So we're going to apply that with every row that we do. Starting with the standard one arm dumbbell row. What you're going to do is you're going to brace your hand against a sturdy surface and you're going to put your leg on the side of your working arm further back, and you're going to keep your opposite leg forward, keeping your elbow to your side. Think about pulling with the elbows back to your hips. And then as you lower the weight, lower it under control and allow it to extend out in front of you. Really get that weighted stretch. Lats love length. You can also have a go at chest supported dumbbell rows and set the bench at an incline, rest your chest against it, and the form cues are similar to the standard dumbbell row, where you're going to pull with your elbows back towards your hips, and as you lower it under control on the way down, allow your arms to stretch out in front of you to really get that weighted stretch in the lats. Good rep range for these, just standard 8 to 12 rep range. When it comes to training back width and fitting it in with your routine, I'd recommend having one lat biased vertical pull and one lat biased horizontal pull. Then you can always switch the variation once your progress starts to stall. Now that concludes the video. I hope you found that useful. Still getting used to this whole camera thing. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff in a bit.